What's up, everyone? This is the first Build in Public streaming session that I'm going to do for Sanctum, showing the stuff that we're building. Today, I want to focus on our licensing feature. We teased this a little as we built it about a couple months ago. However, even though it sounds boring, it's actually very important within the industry for both designers, publishers, and consumers. So this is why we tackled solving this problem as a part of the Sanctum platform. But first, before we dive into how we're building and what we built and kind of dissecting the why behind that, let me just give you an overview of Sanctum. If this is your first time learning about Sanctum, we are building a platform for the entire tabletop roleplay game industry, starting with designers. So if you go to our website and hit the Sanctum link, you're going to see the specific high-level details. But all you need to know is that we are essentially building an app for tabletop roleplay game designers. So if you think about any other industry, designers have tools available to them. Web designers have Figma or Pinpot if they go open source. Video game designers have Unreal Engine or Name XY Engine. Software developers have GitHub. We're essentially building those same things all into one for tabletop roleplay game design. And when I mean all of those things into one, as these videos get introduced, you're going to see that we are providing a version control system that mirrors Git. We are providing design tools that somewhat mirror some type of blended experience of Unreal Engine and Figma. And we're creating the same type of algorithms without using AI that Unreal Engine does to provide the video game level automation that directly corresponds into our Play app, which provides a testing platform that removes any distracting material from designers, but allows us to get low-level analytics to bring back into Sanctum to have that full development cycle. So let's talk about our licensing feature. So in Sanctum, this is beta software, so just please be kind with the experience and the design. This is not released. This is still very much a work in progress. This is just our prototype, if you will. So here we have our initial dashboard, and you can already see this low-level concept that we're providing where we have workspaces for designers that have multiple teammates that they work with collaborating on one project, or in this case, let's say this indie designer, which we are in this profile, is also working with Wizards of the Coast on the Dungeons and Dragons project. Now, Wizards of the Coast probably not going to freelance anyone, but let's just pretend for this scenario. So in this account, we could see a few things here. We could see the workspaces we belong to. We have our personal workspace, and then we have the Wizards of the Coast workspace, a third party that we've been invited into. And we can see that the Dungeons and Dragons is a repository within this workspace. And it's internal, so only the team could see it, no one else outside of the team. Likewise, in this top corner, we could see verified. This means that we've verified as an official publisher with Sanctum. So that should give us some extra features and credentials for when we're trying to do stuff. So let's bring your attention over here to our account settings. We have a licenses link. So in licenses, you can see that Neural will come built in with a set of licenses that are core to the tabletop roleplay game industry that already exist. We associate, when you verify as a publisher, we can associate those licenses as your official licenses. So here, we're within the Wizards of the Coast group. So we have 4 different licenses that essentially they own the rights to. And we also have the ability to create a license because we verified. So what does this look like and why is this important? Well, first and foremost, this doesn't exist in the industry right now. Right now, licensing management is done through a Google Doc. We're providing a platform that makes that easy and gives you the version control that you need as a single source of truth that's co-located with all your game system material. So what does it look like? We could see that we have versions over here that we could keep track of. We could see the last time that they were updated in their names. If we click inside one, the open game license is pretty broad, but we could see a high-level summary. It was created initially for the 3rd edition. We have the source if we wanted to see the raw license source, like maybe that goes to a legal page on your website. And then we could see 2 other boxes that are very uncommon for what we know about licenses right now. Number 1 is permissions, and we have simplified statements, high-level summaries of the permissions that are important to this license. And the same thing with restrictions. And why is this so important? Number 1, just to be very clear, we're not using AI to summarize this. You as a license holder are in control of creating this summary. At one point in time, we will hopefully have some features in there that will help guide you on if the summary is too abstract or could it be simpler to understand. We're not going to have that out of the box, but today this is what we provide, which essentially deconstructs the entire legal process and the license system so that way other people find it easier to understand. But most importantly, it allows Neural to have a little more low-level configuration for your game system. So why is all of this important? This is just step 1 of creating and managing the game license systems. So since I own the rights to open game license, I could delete stuff. I can create new product identities. But I'm going to go back to license and let's check out what creating a custom license is. So I'm just going to put a test, do not use this, version 1. This is just a demo. We don't have a website. I'm just going to do test.com, full text. Just in case you want to do it, you don't have to. I need a real URL though. Okay, so I'm going to create this license and now we see that we have it. And we go in here and because this is a custom license, we're going to get some additional stuff. Most importantly, danger zone. We own the full rights to this license. If we go back to open game license, because we're a third-party member of this account, we don't own the rights, but we have access to it. Build in public, fail number 1. We shouldn't see these. I'm scared to touch it. I'm not going to touch that right now because we're in a demo, but you won't be able to see that. So I'm going to go back into the test license and we can edit each section. I'm going to add permissions. So this is how simple it is. You just choose from a list, non-commercial only. I'm just going to put non-commercial. Cool. Must include logo. This has nothing to do with being non-commercial, but I'm just going to put stuff. Now we see that we have the restriction here. Likewise, or the permission, likewise, I'm going to put a restriction, product identity. Must include logo. That's repetitive of the other one, so ideally they would be different. But just to show that we have now created this thing. And look, more importantly, we're calling out that, hey, you've updated this license since we've created it. So now the version is outdated. So this tells me I need to go in here and update version 1.1 because we've officially edited it. Now it goes away. So this is what I mean by an important version control system that we now have the full access and the rights to in order to like build and manage our licenses in the same space as our game systems and all of our game content within Sanctum. So why does this ultimately matter? What does this look like in practice? So let's go back to our repositories within D&D. We can see that we're using the open game license here. First and foremost, within our system, we break down the creation process, which we'll talk about in the future. And essentially, we break it down into 4 sections: ideation, foundation, creation, and validation. I'm going to go back because that was a little spoiler for the next videos. But essentially, now that we have a license associated with it that has the separated permissions and restrictions, we can now control what you can and can't do. Why would you care about that? Well, you would care a lot if you're building a game system that's extended with someone else's license. For example, one of the most popular rules-light games, arguably, in the industry, Morkborg, Dark Fort, has their own game license, the Morkborg system. There are so many games that extend the Morkborg system, like one of our early adopters, Vast Grimm. So by able to control this whole level, whenever someone's creating, let's say Vast Grimm is creating a new stuff, we can automatically pre-populate our block section with all the Morkborg material, but also control that with what the Morkborg license allows you to be able to do. So now we're providing this very safe environment that both protects you from legal trouble, understanding we are not a legal firm, but also as the game system owner, Morkborg in this case, it connects and allows us to create a visual map showing them all of the content that is essentially extending their systems, that if they wanted to audit, they could. They shouldn't need to with Sanctum, but it allows them to be able to show how big their community really is. That's why this is important, number one. So whenever you're creating a new system, a lot of people get tripped up with the licensing, rightfully so, because there's not a tool like Sanctum helping make that more easy to understand. So let's create a new game system within Wizards of the Coast. We're going to call it Monster Manual. And we're going to make this private, and it's a draft. So now this is where the licensing comes in. We're going to associate a license with this book. Here is our license assistant, once again, without using AI. There's no need for AI here. And notice that these are all the license that we have in our system already. Morkborg's third-party license already in there. But look, now that we've published a license and we're verified, anyone on the platform now has access to our custom license if we were working on material that we wanted other people to extend. So what does this look like? Well, D&D always uses the open game license, so let's just use that. Now, as someone creating your own system, you get this very clear understanding of which license you should be choosing for your system. You have access to a high-level summary, you have access to the official license, and you have the breakdown of permissions and restrictions. Like I said, we have already put all these in the system. Year zero is pretty intense. Morkborg is pretty open, not really any restrictions. But let's get spicy. Let's say D&D is going to use the Morkborg license. Oops. Cool. Demo fail. Build in public. So now we see that we have another game system that's using the Morkborg license. This is the power and just a peek of things that we're doing to empower tabletop roleplay game designers, focusing around the licenses. Hope you enjoyed that. And until next time.